I'm Jerry Swift. This is my partner, Al Gooderham. Today we're going to go over a blended technique. A blended technique, what that means is you're doing two different types of evolutions simultaneous to achieve the same objective. And we're talking about maximizing compartment space for our work area. Today, the tunneling and floorboard operations are going to be the two techniques we're going to show you. Now, under that IAP, I can't stress enough how important it is to follow those 4 phases of rescue. You got preparation, extrication, patient packaging, and transportation. In this scenario, we're going to go a little bit more in depth on the stabilization portion of that preparation phase. So here we have a car on its edge up against a wall. So we can say access to our patient is very limited. So we have to think about that before applying our stabilization. Now, as you can see, we have quite a bit of void space between the car and the wall. And we would both agree that when a car's on its edge, the most unstable side is going to be the compartment side of the vehicle because of the contours of the car. This is where I like to point out, under primary and secondary stabilization, primary is always going to be your fail-safe. It's what you need to get the job done safely for both you and the patient. Under primary, by definition, once it's in place, it's not going to be removed or relocated until extrication sector has been terminated and patient's been packaged and transported. Secondary stabilization, it's there to complement your primary. It can be relocated or removed for whatever your rescue plan calls for. How much tension do I put on my straps? That is for you to make that decision based on the load that you're trying to secure. But normally you want to go 2 clicks past snug, because if you go too much past snug, you'll actually start to push the car over instead of snugging up and keeping the weight in the same place you found it. Now we're ready to start our tunneling evolution. Now, depending on the make and model, there are some differences amongst the bracketing system that holds the seat back in place. Now, on this particular car, which is nice, we have release buttons that you can release the seat and they fold down. Not every manufacturer will have that. You can see the bracketing system, which is nice. You got manual rewinds for your seatbelt. So a good tool for situations like this would be a Sawzall. You can just zip across it. If you don't have Sawzalls, some other tools you can use are air chisels, and you can use a cutter spreader combo, either a dedicated cutter spreader or using a small combi tool. For this scenario, we're going to show you the use of a small combi tool and how beneficial it can be, especially for tunneling. Our tunneling evolution. We're able to take out a rear fold down seat. We have our deck lid completely removed and out. We've cleaned up all of our upholstery and plastic, and now we have a direct line of travel straight to the patient. Now we're ready to start our floorboard operations. Our first step is, with a car on its edge, we want to displace the front door. Now, it's your option whether or not you want to remove the whole front door or if you just want to pop the rear nader and then tie it off to the front end. It's completely your call. In this case, we're just going to pop it and tie it off to the front end.
Good.
Now, if you don't know where your bracketing for your rail system for your front seat begin and end, it's okay. You can do one or two things. You can either A, climb up and look, or B, usually on most manufactured vehicles, if you go midline with the B-post for the rear portion of the bracketing system, if you follow it midline all the way down, that bracketing system will be in front of it. So it's always a safe bet. So on the front of it, if you follow the kickboard where it meets with the rocker channel, where that 90-degree angle happens, if you follow that through your rocker channel with your relief cut down into your rail, and then finish that line with an air chisel or a sawzall, cut my rail, zip it down with my air chisel. I'm going to come midline with my V-post, cut all the way through the rocker channel, come down your rocker, zip it down with my air chisel. I'm going to cut my rail, zip it down with my air chisel, and then position my spreader in to force my floorboard out. So now you see the end result of our blended tunneling with floorboard operations. And you can definitely see the increased workable space around the patient. Now, one thing I like to add is going through the front windshield is a viable option if you're talking about airway management. But for an egress point of a patient, especially a patient that might be trapped underneath the dash, that's a tough one. But I'll let you decide on your seat. I just hope that these training videos are helping you guys be a better tacticianist when it comes to auto extrication. So from Jerry and Al here at Genesis, we want to thank you for viewing this video, and always remember the cardinal rule: be safe.